What's the hardest thing about being a part of the BPO industry? So, ladies and gentlemen, my guest on this spontaneous but long overdue episode
Yeah.
of the Rodcast Podcast, Mr. Mike Marshall Ibale of IBEX.
Yes. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're seeing this. Hello.
So, if you know the guy, you know what he's about. If you don't know the guy, we'll find out more about the dude. And
Very glad to be here.
oh, thank you, man. I mean,
Like you
thank
said, it's
finally.
long overdue, but
Finally.
I'm here.
Yeah, I've been communicating with this guy. I've known him from way back before
Yes.
he even got his feet wet in the BPO industry. And, he was part of the radio broadcast industry. He was with me as a co-DJ in Kilo B.
Kilo B,
At Kilo B,
back then,
yeah,
yeah.
back in the day. So this was before Magic. So if you guys are familiar with Kilo B 89.1, he was one of the guys there. And if you don't remember his air name, it's...
Mike Marshall.
that's right. That's why he goes by Mike Marshall.
Yes.
Still, all right?
Until now, I use that name in my email signature, everything.
Is Marshall really a part of your name?
No.
So
It's
where
the first time I'm seeing that.
how long have you been in the industry?
So I lost count really. I've started. So when I was in college, I was doing a bit of a call center work already.
What was your course?
Mass communication.
Oh, all right. So naturally
it's
you were in
super
radio,
not
yeah.
far from what I'm doing now. So counting that, maybe geez, close to 2 decades, I'd say.
Dang.
That
That's
was
about as long as I've been in radio.
2008, 2009. I already started.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's an operations director, right?
Yes, I'm an operations director for a call center in Davao, IBEX. I think I
So
can
he
say
gets
that
to
in
do
here.
all the hard work. He does the
Yes.
operations. It won't function
Don't
without
hate me
him.
for those who know me and work for me.
Dude, are you strict?
Am I
Are
straight?
you an intimidating presence? Because I know
I don't
you
think
from
so.
radio, and we've always been cool. But of course, you've never been my boss. I've never been in.
Yeah.
Could have been if if that pushed through. But that's the thing. It's like people know you and see you differently because they met you. You were already established as a PPO.
I don't think it's so much of a hate than maybe people would, and especially those who are part of.
Comment
like,
down below if you fear him.
Yes, there are a lot of reactions there. So
And then you'll get
let
your
us
memo.
know.
You'll get your memo next week.
But because I make the big decisions, right? There's the plane right there.
Yeah, airplane. We're near the airport.
So I make the big decisions. Most of the time, it's unpopular. So from that angle, people might not like
You
it.
do the dirty work.
I do the dirty work. I decide again the unpopular decisions.
So you take the credit, but you also take all the
Hate.
Yeah.
There's no other word for it.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a wrong way or a proper way how you prefer to be addressed as or your career as. Do you want it BPO or call center? I mean, and what is the difference? I mean, is BPO the whole thing and call center is just a position that somebody
Well, the
plays?
politically correct term is BPO,
BPO.
because it's an outsourced industry.
Okay.
Yep. I don't know where call center really derived
Is
from.
it fine? Is it okay with you? Because you don't think like people. It's because it's an overused term.
It
Oh,
is.
it's call center agent.
Yeah.
And usually when you say call center agent,
There's a certain
yes, there's just like DJs.
Yes.
Like nobody takes us seriously. A DJ wears a Hawaiian shirt, wears shorts to work, has
Yeah.
long hair, scruffy face, doesn't wear a uniform.
Yeah.
It's a 4-hour job. It's not a job. We're just goofing off, playing songs, talking nonsense. Whereas with the call center, there's more legitimacy to it because
Yeah.
it's a career.
Yeah.
It's a real job.
Yep.
You really need skills. You are trained.
Yep.
You can't just go in there, sit there, and say, "Oh, I speak English well. I can do this." No,
And
man.
what you can add there, and I've learned this, now that I'm in the industry, the level of discipline, Rod, in here. Part of the training, it's not just training about the process and what you're gonna do, but it's really the discipline. Everything in call center is measured. Your breaks, the time you come to work, that's given, but like literally every move, everything you do there, it's measured.
How you communicate
it's scheduled.
with the clients, right? Even, right?
The things you say, it has to be verbatim. It has to be said in a certain way. So from that angle, you get to be disciplined in this industry. That I can tell you.
Is there room for creativity at least? I mean, can you be extra friendly when you come, or
You can, yeah, you can.
that's frowned upon?
Not frowned upon. Maybe the manner of how you say things, you can like
Okay.
be a little bit more perky, maybe.
Okay.
But in terms of the content of what you will say, that's subject for discussion, because most of the time it has to be said like verbatim.
What's the hardest thing about being a part of the BPO industry?
That's very easy. The lifestyle.
The lifestyle.
Everything else you can learn. Everything else can be taught and practically spoon-fed, right? But the lifestyle itself is the hardest component into this job, I'd say.
Okay.
Especially that your biggest enemy, I'd say, is yourself.
Yes.
Imagine waking up in the evening, right, when everyone else is asleep.
Yes.
And with that, everything else that you would do in between the time that you're awake has to also change.
Yes.
Your eating pattern.
Yes.
Practically everything, because again, you're awake when the world is sleeping.
Yes.
So lifestyle is the biggest challenge here.
Lifestyle.
And that, now that I'm in this role, interviewing people who went out,
Yes.
right? This is a popular reason for leaving.
Oh.
A lot of people won't be able to survive the lifestyle.
Oh, in a way, for you, you compare if you see somebody entering the BPO industry as a young, excited kind of, oh, I'm only gonna be here until I can buy an iPhone. You know the mentality,
Save
right?
up, yeah.
You know the mentality, right? And then before they know it, they're like already in their fifth iPhone and they're still doing it.
And there's a car already in
Yeah.
there.
So
Yeah.
that's my question to you. Like, what are the differences with entering the BPO industry as a young gun, really excited,
Versus if you've already
versus
experienced
if you've
like
had
working.
other jobs
Okay.
already and you're more mature?
So I'll base it on facts from the attrition numbers, and I think this is common for call centers. You would have better retention rate for those who are first timers
Oh,
because of
really?
the drive. You mentioned it. They
Yes.
don't know any better really. What I mean by that is you don't get to compare the
Yes.
industry from other else.
Yeah, they're not
right?
as demanding.
Correct.
Yes.
You just know that there's a job. This is what you know, and you're
wow.
paid a certain way, and along with that salary comes the need, right? Like an
Yeah.
iPhone or what have you.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you have you need
Yeah.
for another iPhone,
Yeah.
right? So
or a car, you upgrade.
maybe for
right?
a car
Yeah.
or maybe buying a house, right?
Yes.
So the advantage would be for those who did not or did not have any experience yet, because those who were already employed in the other industries, not necessarily in the call center, they get to compare.
That's a good point.
And if you compare, it's going to be, it wouldn't work to your
Yeah.
advantage
Yeah.
because it's a super stressful
Wow.
industry.
Wow.
Pressuring,
So,
not to mention.
so it's actually not necessarily advantages that you've had previous work. It's
Not
actually
necessarily.
oh, okay, I get it. Because at first,
Sorry, but let me
Yeah,
correct
go ahead.
that. Only if the previous work involves
stressful situations as well that maybe on the same level.
call center. I think there's no other like industry, right, that you can compare it to. It's really just within the
Just-
organization.
okay, got it.
BPO, maybe virtual work, right?
Yeah.
Home-based work.
Yeah.
Anything that involves outsourcing, because you understand the pressure and the
Yes,
demand
yes.
that it requires.
And it's a global standard.
It's a global
it's
standard,
not a Pinoy
yeah.
standard. I
Correct.
mean, nothing against Pinoy standards, but you know how, there's always a way around things. There's always an
Yes.
excuse. There's always palusot. There's always a connection. That doesn't work with a global
Yeah.
industry because there is a standard that, and in a way, it helps
And
set
higher
the standard
standard,
high.
I'd say.
Yeah. But I was initially expecting, it's good that you brought that up. It's good that you mentioned that because I was initially expecting that the younger ones are the ones that don't stick around.
No.
Because, they're young and they're like, oh, I was able to buy. And then I realized you're right. Because if you're older, it's like, it's like coming from another radio station, right?
Correct.
And you join another radio station.
Yeah.
You obviously don't want to downgrade.
Correct.
Like, oh, their mics are nicer here, or their mics are worse here, or their equipment.
You have that already in your mindset.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's your
Automatically.
first time, you're just happy to be on radio.
There's a mic. There's a.
You're on air. Your friends
It's
can
air
hear
conditioned.
you. You can greet them.
What else can you ask for? Yeah.
Right. And if it's their first time, it's also their first experience of financial freedom.
Correct.
They can buy
Correct.
what they want.
And that's the best
Right?
workforce you would want to get. Those who are maybe first timers, that's one, and then those who just came out of the school, right? Doesn't necessarily have to be
Yes.
graduates,
Oh,
but
wow.
because again, they need that financial stability at this point,
Yes.
so they would work their ass off.
mean,
I'm not sure if you can say that on air.
Of course you can. Puwet. I mean, it's
Yeah.
some of these kids are making more money than their parents.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not even kidding. I'm
Yeah.
talking about like not kids, but probably they'll get
Better
that.
cars than their parents.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
Right. I mean, you see these like young ones. Like I have friends and I know people who are in Manila, and
Yeah.
obviously they get paid more there. The rate's probably higher. They're staying at condos in BGC,
Correct. Yeah.
and I know
The
they're in the
lifestyle.
BPO industry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy cow! Like the normal folks who are holding regular jobs, that's not even You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just to get a car loan or whatever. So obviously,
easy.
because it's a global industry.
Yeah.
So the pay is sort of more standardized.
Correct.
It's
Yeah,
right.
that's right. That's right.
You
Yep.
know, they'd be embarrassed to give you peanuts if they know that it's very competitive. That there's always
And the level of training is also the standard of the training is also high.
So never like 'cause that's the thing. That's also another stereotype that I kind of want to squash because I did realize that. And I do know that and respect that about the BPO industry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people think that it's the easiest job in the world. Oh, you don't have a job? Apply as a call center. Really? Like really? Like you think you can speak a little English? You think you can talk to people? You think you can read off a manual? You think you know a little bit about computers? You think you know a little bit about customer service or whatever? Or you think it's something that because the stereotype stems from how a lot of those who are in the BPO industry are on the young side,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
the older folks, like maybe myself or maybe the moms or the dads or those who've been working at government agencies, they're thinking, kaya naman ng mga anak natin yan, kaya natin yan.
Yeah.
But you know, it's probably the older folks who are having a harder time.
That's right, and good that you mentioned that. That's the stereotype that I don't think would be eliminated anytime soon, right? The notion is for as long as you can speak in English, you can comprehend, and you get the job.
No.
Probably you would at that entry level, but you
Yeah.
wouldn't survive
No.
because it takes more than that. And trust me, I've been in this industry for a long time to understand that. It's not enough that you can just speak the language, understand the language, and comprehend. Right?
It's not.
It takes more than
It's
that.
tough. It's the young ones who have the drive. It's the young ones who have the patience.
The patience.
And they're also the ones with the lesser responsibility at home.
Yeah.
Because if you're a parent, you have kids,
Yeah.
and you're faced with the stress of BPO work, it's different. It'll take its toll on you.
Yes,
Right?
yes,
Because
yeah.
you have responsibilities besides yourself.
Yes.
Whereas when you're young, you know, hey, puyatan, okay lang. You know, I have to fill in for a coworker, okay lang.
Yeah.
Right? And I think with you, is that why you're still single? Ready to mingle?
That's.
Or are you even single? Or
I am single. That's a hard. So
Does it
maybe
take away from other parts of your life, like the social life, relationships, all that stuff?
maybe because of like I'm so devoted into this work,
Okay.
right? Especially I again work in the morning, so it's not something that you would just I don't know like it would come into your mind on a regular basis. So
Because you're so busy.
yeah,
That you don't even
maybe
have time
it's
to
the priorities. It's a cliche, respond, but
And you're at the stage in your life where I was always told by my aunt and my mom to like maximize the prime earning years of your life.
Yeah.
And I really didn't do that because I was a DJ during the prime years of my life, and earning isn't really associated with being a DJ. But of course, I can't say I didn't live a life. I mean, those were the most memorable years of my
Yeah.
life. I mean, I couldn't even say that was work. But then again, like I said, now of course for you, you're the prime earning years of your life, and you're at an industry that's always in demand, that has grown leaps and bounds. Let me ask you, how does the Philippines rate among other countries like India,
terms of-
Malaysia, maybe in Indonesia, Singapore, in terms of the BPO scene? Like, how in demand are Filipinos, and how do we fare performance-wise, based on your knowledge?
yeah, my knowledge, based from my knowledge, it's very in demand. Only because with Filipinos, our greatest advantage is our accent,
Okay.
the neutral accent.
That's right.
We can easily be understood. in the
Indians
phones.
always have that accent.
Indians, they're
British
So
too,
I'm
right?
gonna compare it with Indians because Indians, I think, is our greatest competitor
Oh,
when it comes to demand in a BPO world. Indians, their greatest advantage is their knowledge on technology.
Yes. These guys are IT folks.
I don't know
They're
what
geniuses.
they have there in their curriculum, but
Strict parents.
maybe the strict parents, but they're very knowledgeable
Yes.
in troubleshooting a device or fixing a technology, an app or whatever.
Almost to a fault.
Almost
because
to a
a
fault,
lot
yeah.
of people accuse them of being hackers too,
I
and all
know.
that stuff, right? Scam and stuff.
That's the immediate correct.
Because they're
That's
so
the
brilliant.
immediate notion, yeah.
They can
Yeah.
actually use it for the do it
So
for,
that's the advantage of Filipino. In other Asian countries like Thailand, you wouldn't see a lot of call centers there
Yeah.
because English obviously is not a primary language that they
yes,
speak.
Thailand, no, they're barely speaking.
China because of the technology too.
Okay.
But in terms of voice taking agents, they don't have
The
a lot.
accent and stuff.
So it's really Philippines and obviously like the USA's, the Americas, right?
Yes.
Again, it's still our advantage because of the cost.
Yes.
You don't want to get an American agent that you have to pay maybe twice as much as what you have to pay for a
That's true.
Filipino agent.
That's
So
true.
that's why all the businesses are in here. Our greatest enemy, though, is again ourselves, being the natural Filipino trait of
Yeah.
laziness and
Yeah.
all of that stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, the biggest competition is yourself.
Gamay trabaho, storya dagan.
Storya dagan. That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
but we're social creatures, you know? Like I said, no,
We're not the most disciplined. I think
we're
that's
not. And Filipinos
we
have
gotta
a knack
embrace that.
for turning the workplace into a social environment, you know?
yeah.
And it's not like other places where you dread working because when you go there, you just have to work and then you just party like crazy afterwards. Whereas for Filipinos, we mix business with pleasure.
Yeah.
We always have that thing. We whistle while we work.
Correct.
You know, other
And that's how we survive.
That's how we survive. That's true.
That's how I survive, at least.
Yeah, it's a, I guess it's in a way it's a positive trait, but it can also be a flaw.
Yeah.
Like especially if it's a strict working environment
Correct.
and you have a hard time. Like you said, the lifestyle.
The lifestyle.
Yeah, it's more of removing yourself from the typical Filipino work environment
Yep.
and realizing that no, this is international, this is global.
Yeah.
The people who
standards
set
are
the
higher.
guidelines here are not Pinoys,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
I can be taken out of this industry and transferred to another branch in another country, and the thing is, it would be the same.
Yeah.
So I'm already globally trained.
Correct. Correct.
My standards for working and professionalism is already international.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of the BPO industry.
Yes.
Right? It kicks your butt. It
It
tells
does.
you that, hey, the Pinoy way is not necessarily the global
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you've grown as a person from that.
I did.
How you deal with people, how you view the world. And you've done a lot of traveling.
I
I'm not sure how much of it is work related, how much of it is your personal choice, but probably 50-50 or whatnot. But either way, I'm pretty sure you've grown so much from that boy in Combal or where you're originally from to where you are now. I'm not talking about necessarily financially or whatever, because that comes with the territory, but it's more of your perspective of
Yeah.
the world, of people, of how, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And you need that in the BPO industry.
You need that. You need that. That's an advantage, really. And the thing about like someone like me who started in the industry and get to observe the crossover of your traditional call center setup to the innovative side of it now, where there's technology involved. I get to compare how easy the job is today compared to where it was a couple of years back.
Oh, really?
There's Chat GPT. There's a lot of
Yes,
technologies you can
yes.
use at your disposal, really,
there's,
right?
There's like you can even watch YouTube if you just want to,
Yeah.
just
YouTube. There's a
you can be bombarded by English and all that stuff. I mean, I'm pretty sure back then maybe they had to hire consultants specifically
Yes.
to train
Yeah.
agents with a particular accent or whatever. And now you can just show them a video.
Correct.
You know?
So I got to to compare that, and the workforce today is very lucky to have all of this in their disposal. Really, the evolvement of technology. So that played a factor into the success of call center. I think generally in the Philippines. I mean, when you go to Manila, Metro Manila, you would see all the tall buildings are all BPOs, right?
Yes, I know.
See the names there.
I know.
You don't see that in other,
No.
at least in the Asian countries. When you go to Bangkok or Shanghai,
Yeah.
it's not a. You
Yeah.
don't see a concentrics there, an ibex, right?
Here it's like if it's a
The
fancy
tallest
building,
buildings
that's a right.
would always have a call center company there inside, and here in Davao too.
Yeah, so it's an industry that has seriously taken off. It's an
Yeah.
industry that's constantly evolving. For those that don't know, I actually have like a buttload of questions here. I was only really able to ask a couple, but you know what?
Sorry.
Mike elaborated on it. He's been more than, I guess, open to answering the questions I was going to ask. And I know you will be answering some of these on our next episode. We better have
Yes.
one. We'll shake on it.
Yes,
All right.
here.
Dude, your workplace is right there. We can shoot this at the food court at SM. I don't
Yeah.
mind, as long as there's no copyright music playing.
Yes.
Like, this is a mobile podcast.
Or a pantry in our next building. So for those who aspire to be part of the industry, let me tell you this: whatever you know about the industry, it's totally different now because again of the involvement of not social media but technology. It gets the job easier for everybody. I'd tell you that.
Oh, really?
I'd tell you that much.
Oh, man.
There's a lot of technology. You just have to be there physically, and practically the machine will just
Yeah.
do the job by
Wow.
itself.
So the lifestyle overhaul it's still there, but come on, it comes from within.
Yeah.
You become a professional, you respect time, you respect the nature of your work.
Yep.
That's all that's required of you.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much most of the stuff there you can learn if you're eager and if you pay attention to your superiors, like this guy. All right. So, Mike Marshall, thank you. Mike Marshall,
Thank you,
Libane.
Rod.
Of course, the Rodcast podcast. This has been somewhat of a spontaneous episode that's years in the making here in my house, and we'll have another episode of Mike and
Part two.
We're gonna talk about a lot of other stuff. So if you guys like it, if you guys want to ask anything, comment away, and I'll make sure that Mike gets to check out the queries, and hopefully he can answer that. So
I will.
Ibex, you raced a good man. All right. This has been the Rodcast podcast. We're out.